And they're like, what do you think? I'm like, I'm not tasting anything. Mm-hmm. This thing's freaking ice cold.
I drank all 4 glasses in under 3 minutes and asked for more. I was like, I'm not sure if I like this or not. Hello, and welcome everyone to episode 215 of The Mashup, the best bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long. We are your hosts, Anthony, Kenny, and Jason.
Woo!
Woo! Jason, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for having me on again. I guess I didn't run out my welcome, you know.
No, in fact, I think you are the longest now serving guest co-host on The Mashup.
When you can't get anybody else, you call it's between me and Diogi over here.
Yeah, we thought about putting the dogs on.
Since they can't talk, I'm the next one up. I got you.
There you go. Exactly. No, but that's the way Lexington is, ladies and gentlemen. So we kind of decided to record last minute today, and I pinged Jason. I like to say that, and then it turns out you guys are recording, right?
We did Arsenic Culture. Check us out.
There you go, Arsenic Culture. So Jason is on the YouTube/podcast series Arsenic Culture. They have a great variety show that isn't just bourbon. It's beer, it's sake and fireball and eggnog, soju, all kinds of stuff, right?
It is.
And so he was recording and was nice enough to come over here and grace us with his presence.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kenny, what do you think?
I am happy to be here too. Thank you for inviting me
at your own house.
Show.
At your own house.
I appreciate that.
You were so silent over there. I wasn't sure what was going on. I know what it is though. I saw you on your phone, so it's got to be having to do with bottles again.
I'm binning bottles.
This man never stops, ladies and gentlemen. But it's nice to see both of you this time of the year. I think we all survived the first leg of the holidays, which is Christmas. Barely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did Santa bring you everything that you wanted this year?
He did. My mom actually re-gifted me a gift I gave to her a few years back. It was a chef's knife.
That is awesome.
That was too sharp for her.
Okay.
So she bought me a paring knife, and she's like, I didn't want to re-gift this one. I'm like, no, if you don't want it, I really want that one back.
That's awesome.
So I had a good Christmas, man. How about you all?
Well, my wife tried to do a lot of nice, thoughtful things for me this year. One of them included a luxury shirt.
Ooh.
And
I'm picturing silk, like back in the 90s. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, here's the thing. This luxury shirt.
Belle Biv DeVoe, one side's one color and the other one, you know.
That's exactly what it's like.
Got it from the merry-go-round. In Fayette Mall.
Is it doll hairs over there?
Doll hairs. I can't even keep it together, guys. So it's a really nice shirt. But the problem is I'm too fat for it. And that's the first thing.
Been there.
Yeah. And
Still get your girdle.
And the second thing is yes, I'll go ahead and get one of those. The second thing is for a luxury shirt, the material is supposed to be like sustainable or something. Mm-hmm. It's literally like you can see through it.
Yep.
And I can't in a million years understand why this luxury shirt that costs a lot of money has material that feels like a dish rag. So that is going back, and I feel bad because my wife put a lot of thought into it. And then she also had got me these like moccasin kind of looking things that would line.
You could rock those.
I could rock them, but I don't like the fact that my heel slips in the back because there's no heel to it. And so those are going back as well. And then she bought me all kinds of wonderful skincare stuff.
Damn, you're a jerk.
Yeah,
Harsh.
a huge
Harsh,
jerk.
dude.
Huge jerk. No, but here's the thing.
Oh my gosh.
And then she took care of all the wonderful holiday meals and everything else. And so those things are going back, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to get something else. We actually already picked out something else instead. So the gifts will happen. But other than that, it was all about watching my kids get excited. Grumpy Mills over here, now the Grandpa Mills.
Yeah.
I saw that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's in a holiday spirit, and he bought my kids gifts, and they are just loving them. So, Grumpy
was
delivered.
it old Louisville Picks?
It was it had to be a Buffalo Trace product, don't anything.
Okay. It makes sense.
Yeah, I made sure he got
some Eagle Rare picks.
Weeded bourbons. But no, it was great. Got to spend a lot of time with my parents, which was great. They came down, and always fun to get through the Christmas holiday. Kenny, you, sir?
Man, it was really good, and we're actually going to get a bonus Christmas out of this at my house. Ooh. So We typically get together on on Christmas Eve.
Why not New Year's? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, we do that too. But we get together on Christmas Eve with the whole family, and one of the family members ended up having COVID, and a few other family members were potentially exposed to that.
Oh, no.
So we only met with part of the family on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
And the whole big family thing is postponed like until the Saturday.
Oh, I got you.
So honestly, I don't look at it as a bad thing. I look at it as a bonus.
There you go.
I got, Christmas Eve and another Christmas on Saturday coming up. So
extended.
It'll be fun. That. If any of our listeners or friends of me on Facebook, they saw Shannon's post. So
right.
With the grandbaby on there.
That's
so
right.
It was really cool. Got to spend a couple of days. Grandbaby came out both days, Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So that was great. Good
was
times.
That the first official post for the grandbaby?
It was, because my son and his wife, they didn't post anything. So me and Shannon didn't really want to post anything.
That's right. You gotta give them that grace.
And so we finally found out, they're like, no, you all can post. We just don't post stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. So we went ahead and posted. But yeah, we actually delayed that post about 3 weeks.
I was going to say the only people who would have known were the podcast listeners, because we mentioned it in the podcast.
Yeah.
Did you get any sous vide potatoes? I'm copying Anthony's pronunciation.
I know.
Yeah.
Dude, we
I'm going to be yelling it in a second. You better watch out.
Last Sunday, for our final round of the best of, I literally thought I was going to die. I could have just taken a knife and jammed it in my stomach and just tried to empty it out, man. It was so horrible. So what happened was, I made the sous vide potatoes. Caleb made this venison.
I heard you last show. Yeah,
pot roast.
I keep up with y'all.
It was deer stew.
Shannon took a lot of the juice out of that pot roast and made a gravy out of it.
Ooh, that sounds good.
All right, so for me, I can't eat that kind of food and then drink whiskey.
I agree. You're too full.
Well, no. For me, it's my tongue. My tongue gets lit up. You've gone on barrel picks with me.
I have.
I eat plain sourdough bread on the way there. Yep. Or I'll eat just something plain.
White Castle after, baby. White Castle after, but
just to have something on my stomach. But
the sourdough bread.
He does.
I know.
With his
smart. I mean, smart. Keeping your palate fresh. Yeah.
I just want my palate to be fresh. Yeah. So we were doing the blind tasting, and so while everybody else during the 3-hour break is eating all this crazy, amazing food, I'm upstairs literally with some sourdough bread and like some plain ham on a little roll, just getting something on my stomach. Once we're done with the last round, I go to eat, bro, and that pot roast with the mashed potatoes and that gravy from the pot roast, I couldn't quit eating it, dude.
Food coma at the end?
Dude, I was doubled over. I was so miserable.
Well, there was 4 times that I saw him go upstairs and come down with a plate. And this is while we were tallying all the scores to figure out what won and everything else. And I just kept thinking to myself, like, how the heck's he eating that much? It was like, it
didn't hit it once.
A guppy will eat itself to death, right? Kenny literally tried to eat himself
almost
to death.
did. I really did. And it didn't hit, like, obviously if it would have hit it once, I'd have been good. But no, then I would have quit. But dude, all of a sudden, just boom, it was too far. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
Spaceballs reference.
Oh, I remember that.
Pizza the Hut has locked himself in his car and ate himself to death.
So we were speaking of Pizza the Hut. We were out in Denver at Meow Wolf. You ever heard of that? It's like an art exhibit. It's like you walk through it and stuff.
Say what, Meow?
Yeah, exactly. So you might want to be. It might be better if you were under the influence of something.
Okay.
But they had Pizza the Hut as a character.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, they have backstory. I sat there and watched it for a while, but good reference. Good reference.
There you go.
Sorry, I digress.
No, it's perfect.
That's funny.
So other than Kenny trying to eat himself to death, the other fun thing that we did, which kind of ties into the bottle that we have for tonight, but we'll tell that story here in a second, is we got to go with Bluegrass Liquor Box to Barton for a pick. And I actually got to go this time,
right
sir, because it's supplanted you. This whole semester, I've been teaching on Wednesdays, and every time they've had a barrel pick, I have not been able to go. And the first alternate, just like the podcast, this is Jason. And so Jason comes in.
I couldn't go.
How many did you get to go? You got to go to Four Roses?
I got to go to Four Roses and Old Forester for sure.
Yeah.
And I missed the 1792. I had to be out of state for that one.
There you go. Exactly. There you go. So
you did okay in my absence, I'm sure.
I think that we did okay, but the funniest thing, and I don't know how else to tell this story. So people that have picked at Barton before know that you usually pick in a warehouse.
Okay, I've never done a pick there. I've been a tour there, and when they have the gift shop open. But.
Well, Kenny, we were told by Alves and other people that they had to do picks in the warehouse, and it was so cold that they couldn't taste anything, couldn't smell anything.
Now, a year previous,
right,
or 2 years previous, I did a pick there in the warehouse. It was me and Mossick. You had mentioned that little glass earlier.
Yeah.
It was actually for Thieves Guild.
Very cool.
And me and Mossick did a pick there. And, dude, it was so cold. You could not get hardly a nose. You had to just put the glass in your hand and just blow on it, just trying to warm it up a little bit to get anything. And about a week before our pick, Alves had just been there for a pick. I think it was with the Bourbon Junkies.
Right.
So I messaged BK and Alan. I was like, man, get a hold of your rep, try to get a hold of them, see if there's any way to get this moved to an inside tasting room. I said, if not, I mean, it's just, you might as well just pick whatever you want to pick, because you can't taste anything out there in the cold.
I had the experience not there, but in Knob Creek, we did a pick there in my beer group several years back, and it was snow on the ground. I mean, it was frigid. Like you were shivering when you're trying to drink. Now, it did affect it because you're right; it was too cold. Like it should have been an extra 15 to 20 degrees warmer. So
right. Well, and that's the thing. So when we got there and we found out we were inside, everybody's excited, but then where we were at was like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like there's a boiler room there, and it's like where the employee offices are, but then they have like a conference room, so we got to be in there. And the guys that we did a pick with were phenomenal. They were great. The one guy was, he said, you know who you look like? And I thought he was going to say Adam Sandler. And that's what I was prepared. And he said, you look like my best friend. And I'm like, there's no way I look like this guy's best friend. And he pulls a picture of him up, and I look identical. I'm like, what is this? And they're like, we're all joking around like, did your dad spend time in Kentucky growing up and all this other stuff? So that was really hilarious. The pick went fine. It was, what did we taste, 4 samples or 3? I think it was 4. It was 4 samples. I was happy with what we selected, even though overall it wasn't like knock your socks off, just being honest. I think that was around a 7-year-old something or other. I think 7 to 8 years old, 100 and, it's going to come out 125 proof regardless of what it was we were tasting it, right? But the craziest thing happened, and you guys might be able to explain this. You with your knowledge of beer, and Kenny, you with your knowledge of distilling. I'm not sure. But when we walked in, they were in production there, and we could smell whatever it was, the mash. Now, when we walked in, I was fine with it. We walked out. I don't know what they were venting or what they were doing, but as we walked down the hill, it smelled like puke.
Ooh.
Like, it smelled bad to the point where that smell was in my nose for the rest of the day and the next day. Finally, like, I think it was 30 hours later, I texted him and said, that smell's finally out of my nose, but it, like, really ruined everything. Like, it just got caught in there. What was that smell? Do you know what that smell was? You know what I'm talking about? We walked down the hill?
No. That, I don't know if you saw that truck.
Right.
They were unloading the barrels of Blanton that they distilled to age down there at 1792, and that was all the Blanton's barrels that
is
that
the buff turkey that's
yeah, of course you'd go there.
I mean, it has to be spent grain, right? So like you think of like in school when somebody'd have the up chuck there, they put down that sawdust kind of solution.
That's exactly what it smelled like.
It makes me think spent grain. It's like a little bit turned. Maybe it's got a little sour to it.
Oh,
maybe that's what you're smelling. I've never smelled the distillery though,
Ooh,
or a brewery.
Maybe we smelled the good mash. For a lot of the walk up.
Okay,
there was just one small section of the vomit.
Yeah. And
Anthony might have been crop dusting himself or something way up there too. You never know.
All those pepperoncinis he eats.
Hey, I've actually had some pepperoncini today.
Good. I'm gonna sit on this side.
Yeah, what do you think?
Slide over.
What do you think I had for lunch? Half a jar of pepperoncini. That's what we do. But no, that was a fun pick. And then afterward is where some of the fun began, because we went down the road to, of course, a place you've been before.
Mammy's?
Not Mammy's.
No.
We drove all the way over
Willett.
to Willett. Yeah. And so I had only been to the bar at Willett one time. This time, it was just middle of the day. It was me, Mossick, Andrew, his buddy, and Kyle was there as well. He was on a pick. You've met Kyle before, right?
I have.
So we sit down there, and of course, everybody's egg salad sandwich.
Have
to, right? Got the salads, whatever, that whole bit. And then the funniest thing is Kenny takes a picture of his egg salad and posts it on social media.
Oh, I saw it. I commented.
Yeah. Well, everybody commenting was thinking that we were doing a pick at Willett.
And I did not say that we were.
He said after a pick today.
I just want my money.
Great.
That's right. Anthony owes you money.
He does.
Right.
That's why I came over tonight to collect that.
They're collecting now. Yeah. So he also played that trick where he said,
You better pay up, Anthony.
if anybody knows where this at, Anthony will pay, $20 or how much?
No
was
diddy.
it?
50. I want 50.
It was $50?
50.
Dang, 50. Dang. Yeah, I owe a lot of people money, but I do think that people generally thought we were picking at Willett, which we have no chance of ever picking at Willett, I don't think. I mean, that's very exclusive to have to pick there, right? I mean, the only people I know that get to pick at Willett are either like big stores or like
People tight with Drew.
yeah, people that are tight that have these like tasting groups and
I picked
everything.
there once with OBC.
There you go.
But that was it.
That's it.
What you
yeah.
you remember what you picked them?
It actually won second place on our Whiskey of the Year last year.
that was Haunted House.
Haunted House. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a 10-year of their own distillate, or 9-year of their own distillate.
Nine
That's
years.
impressive. I mean, and no offense to them, but just their own distillate, I've not been super impressed with it.
Dude, I was
most of
saying,
it,
man.
But
especially for the money. I was not.
yeah, for sure.
Right.
But the Haunted House, I think it finished 9th, 10th in the prelim rounds.
Right.
But then once we hit championship round, it was second place.
And that was a bourbon.
It was second place, man. Yep.
Yeah.
So you all let rise into your
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
it's just best whiskey of the year
Overall, right. Yep.
Best of had the only thing we don't ever have in the best of is Scotch because none of us are Scotch
I'm not a
drinkers.
Scotch guy either.
But it's mostly bourbon, American whiskey, and rye, and of course any finished variation of those. Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Did we miss anything there?
We had some of the, the Rare Character and the Heaven Hill, both the actual malt whiskeys were
Malt
in.
whiskeys, yeah.
Where did Mad Dog finish this year? Mad Dog 2020.
If you can still find that. I've seen people.
He said it with such a straight face. He's like looking at us like
It took Anthony a minute to catch on there. You know what's
yeah.
going on.
It'd be wild to taste that as an
Banana
adult.
red.
It'd be wild to taste that as an adult, man.
Yeah.
I've not tasted that in forever, like 30 years.
Dude, I literally.
I actually saw some Aftershock on a site the
on
other
secondary.
day. I tried to buy it, and the guy wouldn't budge. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm like, come on, nobody wants this. But I remember, I got to tell a story real quick. So
yeah, please.
Aftershock, I was of course of drinking age, maybe in high school though.
Okay.
And I was laughing really hard with some friends drinking Aftershock, and it came out my damn nose.
Oh no.
So imagine that cinnamon coming out, and this was on like a Saturday night.
Dang.
That's all I could taste and smell through the whole next week at school. Like it was awful,
Bro, it was
I've
like
never had it, but I heard it's horrible.
the last time I've ever had it.
right, and that's what the Barton mash smelled like in the back of my nose and my nasal cavity, right? But going all the way through there, that had to be a harrowing experience.
Yes.
One that you'll never forget.
No, never.
Did you ever try to smash and eat the crystals?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure. They get you more drunk, right?
Yeah, right.
They cut your stomach and let the alcohol absorb. That's what people tell you.
Is that what people would tell
Oh
you?
yeah, it's like a Jägermeister out deer blood.
What crystals? I don't know about crystals.
Aftershock had crystals at the bottom.
Oh, did
They're
it?
like little. Think of like rock candy. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
At the bottom. So when you actually got those out, that's what it tasted like, just rock candy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those were in there, and it's just like Goldschlager had the flakes. in it.
Real
Remember
gold,
that?
baby.
Yeah, real 24 karat gold. It's good for the digestion, right? Just kidding.
TSA gonna light you up.
But
You're
no,
harboring metal. It's not gay if it's TSA.
Don't mind me. I just had Goldschlager before I got on the plane.
That's what's so funny is seeing people with the t-shirts on. It's not gay if it's TSA.
Yeah.
They're standing up
Oh,
with the
I've seen
TSA,
it. I've
like
seen it,
patting
yeah.
them down.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So back to what we were talking about with the samples that we had. We were tasting in the facility and all that.
Yeah.
Even though this is what is kind of crazy, we requested to have the tasting in a room. Mm-hmm. Well, the guys that did the tasting in the room, guess where the sample bottles were before we got there?
In the Rick House.
Yes.
They were cold.
Ice cold. Ice cold. So they passed them around, and we're like, what in the heck?
Wait a minute.
And they're like, yeah, they're out there. I'm like, come on, guys. Now,
Yeah.
it ended up being a really fun pick, and both the guys that were there actually ended up being really
Yeah,
nice and
they're
cool and
great
fun.
guys, yeah.
But I'm sitting there thinking, guys, we requested to be inside because we wanted to get a nose and a taste. So this truly speaks to what we're talking about. They poured all the samples. Immediately, one, not saying like number one, but like one of the four was like, oh gosh, no way, don't even want anything to do with that one.
Right.
Another one was like, oh wow, this is amazing on the nose. And the other two were just okay. And I literally I didn't drink anything for 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
A couple people started
letting them warm
nosing, a
up.
couple people started tasting, and they're like, what do you think? I'm like, I'm not tasting anything.
Mm-hmm.
This thing's freaking ice cold.
I drank all 4 glasses in under 3 minutes and asked for more. I was like, I'm not sure if I like this or not.
But what's hilarious is once they came to room temperature. The one that we were like, ooh, absolutely no way. I think that one actually is the one we picked.
Yeah, I think you're right.
The one that was like, oh, this is amazing, was third or fourth place.
Yeah, it fell off.
Yeah, dude. So, I mean, I just had to let him get warmed up, man.
I've never really had the experience with bourbon, but I've had it with beer. Like if you're drinking like a barrel-aged stout or something, you want that essentially like cellar temperature or room temperature. If you drink that too cold, it can be awful. Like it can be like, what the hell's this? I don't want that. Then room temperature, fantastic.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it was, I didn't get a picture of it. Hopefully you got a picture, Anthony.
I don't know.
Of the guy's buddy who he said looked like you.
Yeah, I got the picture. Dude, that's what we were talking about a second ago.
I know, but well, you just touched on it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Jason.
Just like him.
Oh my gosh.
Let's see if I can find it real quick.
Like the guy there were two guys that were leading the tasting, but the one guy you could just see in his eye, he kept looking towards Anthony and he was like bewildered, man. And he did this for like 15, 20 minutes and I could just see like something, what's this guy keep looking at Anthony for? All of a sudden he's like, man, and he's had to break it out and we're like, oh my gosh.
Right.
Absolutely.
I got to see that picture.
I'm trying to find it. That's
you
a problem.
Deleted it.
No, you know what I do? I never save like people's information in my phone, and so it'd be a lot easier to locate if I actually put the guy's name in here rather than trying to figure this out. But I'll find it next year. But in the meantime, while I'm searching for this, I'm trying to think. Do you remember what day we did the pick?
I can hold my calendar and tell you.
It was a Wednesday.
It was December 11th.
December 11th.
10 o'clock in the morning. I was fresh off of 2 pieces of sourdough bread.
Yeah, here it is. Thanks again for the great pick. And here is the picture. Are you ready for this, Jason?
I'm ready.
Oh, my
Born
God.
ready.
We should find a way to post this, but
Jason,
I don't want to be disrespectful to this guy. And they actually pulled a picture up of me when I was younger. But look at this, bro.
Holy. Is he on the...
Anthony's on the left.
Wow.
I pulled that picture of Anthony on the left off of his Facebook page a long time ago.
That is you with a beard at that age.
Isn't that crazy?
He just didn't have the beard then.
Isn't that nuts? When he said that, I'm like, nobody really looks like me like that.
That is scary.
That's
actually.
scary.
No,
Yeah.
that's a clone.
Dude, there he is.
Is that not? I mean, seriously.
If he was here right now, that's Anthony, you know?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could take you out and just put him in your life. Nobody know the difference.
Be like The Office with Jim. Right?
Oh, my God. That's so great. There you go. Perfect.
The opposite of that.
That is weird. I've seen some guys that look like people, but that is
Isn't that weird?
spot on.
I showed my wife that, and she was like, oh, my God.
You have to be related. Like
Yeah.
there has to be something there that's related.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going to find. First of all, I don't remember that guy's name now. See, I have his number in my phone, but I want to text him and be like, hey, what was your name
Bubba?
again?
You think it's Bubba?
Yeah. Hey, Bubba, thanks for the pick.
But speaking of thanks, do we have any reviews this week?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought you'd never ask. So,
I was going to give you one if you didn't have one. So
Oh,
go ahead.
thank you. That would have been nice.
It would
We
have
have
been good, but
A live shout out. That would maybe next time.
You should give a 3-star review.
3
2.5.
As long as it's not out there, that's fine. It could just be on the podcast. But this review came to us from Hunter S, and it was left for us on December 4th, 2024. There's a 5-star review. The title of it was Thank You. And this listener said, these guys are wonderful, honest, open, and real talk on whiskey, food, and life. Their reviews have helped me narrow down things I want to buy, try, or pass on. That's close. Genuinely love listening to these guys. Keep up the awesome work, and thank you for the tips on my trip to Kentucky. So this is one of the listeners who must have reached out to us on Instagram or Facebook, and we must have given tips for the trip that came down. We do that quite a bit. People will message us and be like, hey, I'm going to hit up Louisville or maybe this area.
Wasn't Hunter the one that ended up booking at Old Louisville for a
I think
small
you're right.
little...
I think it is.
I think it was.
I'm so terrible. It's hard for me to remember things these
Old
days.
Louisville's a great time with McKinney.
Yeah, that's right.
Very
There
nice.
you go. But Hunter, we thank you for that review, and I just want to tell our listeners we are quickly running out of reviews. So please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Facebook.
Yep, I just looked it up.
That's him? Okay. Absolutely. Just leave us a review on any place possible, and we will give you a shout-out the next time we record. So, gentlemen, tying back to what we were talking about here a second ago, the bar at Willett, our bottle for tonight is actually the Willett Family Estate Single Barrel Rye. Woo! The distillery is the Willett Distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky, which we just talked about. The bottle date is 2024. Oh, very good. That was a tiny cork pop. There we go. The ABV is 60.4.
Oh.
Proof is 120.8.
Look up.
So the mash bill, Willett has 2 rye mash bills. They have a high rye and low rye. Their high rye mash bill is 74 rye, 11% corn, 15% malted barley, and their low rye is 51% rye, 34% corn, 15% malted barley. This does not have the mash bill on it, but I think it's a pretty safe bet that this is probably, since it's single barrel, the high rye mash bill of the rye mash bills. The MSRP on this, are you guys ready, is a blistering $500.
Oh, Minnick.
The newer bottles like this just...
Where's your ascot, Kenny's at? There it is. Is it an old Louisville ascot he's putting on?
There you go. There you go. It's got his drying towel. What a Scott. This is already off the rails.
Nice little ascot bib there.
There you
Looks
go.
good on you.
So, gentlemen, the last time we reviewed any Willett bottle on this podcast was all the way back with the, I believe it was the 8-year weeded in the black bottle. Do you guys remember that release? We weren't fans of that at all.
Unfortunately, I remember that one.
Yeah, we said very non-flattering things about it because it was one of the first, like, I don't know, from their weeded mash bill.
It's probably one of the first obtainable ones you would see with that release, too. You know, you saw it trickling out here and there, and you had a chance to get it. So
yeah, wasn't it like $300 or something like that?
I think when it first came out, it was like $250, but then it went up pretty quick for our big box stores.
Right.
And they charge a little bit over retail, of course.
Everybody's trying to charge above retail for
And after a lot of people open those up, that one ended up on secondary being you had to sell it for under retail, if you want to get rid of it.
Good luck, you know.
Well, so this one, I don't know. There's not a whole lot to say about Willett. Most of our listeners probably know about it. It's a very small distillery in Bardstown. They got their start basically sourcing some incredible barrels from Heaven
Probably
Hill,
like some of the most
places.
epic. Like if you think about legitimately some of the most epic barrels,
right,
and bottles.
I just think those were like cream color wax and some of the gold, like the off color gold. Those were fantastic. Some of the rye, some of the bourbons. I knew a lot of guys had those back in the day.
And that was long before I knew or cared anything about Willett.
Same here.
And I probably started on this distillate when it was at 2 years old. I remember buying a 2-year-old rye, a 3-year-old, and now their standard is the 4-year-old. But I have quite a bit of experience in drinking their ryes. I actually like their ryes. A lot of people who like Willett don't, especially their own distilled rye. A lot of people say bad things about it.
This is the oldest one I've tried, or I will try.
Yep.
I think the oldest before this, maybe 8. They did a rye, about 7, 8 years old.
Okay.
Liquor Barn did a pick.
What was the one that all dropped? There was actually 3 that dropped together.
I think they were all 8-year-old. They were. Was that recently?
No, a couple years ago. They had that 19-year Kiamachi.
Yep.
There was another Kiamachi, and there was a Kiamachi rye. Was it like 7-year, 8-year?
I don't remember that one. I remember that release, but I don't remember that one.
Yeah. I think I had that. You have that one, don't you?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna grab it.
He's gonna go looking for it. But yeah, Kenny, I remember when you had that. We tasted it. I think I may have a bottle of it at home.
I can see the label. Liquor Barn had that in their case forever. For a long time.
They might still. They still have that 19-year.
Total Wine had it too. I don't know. I know you go over there Total Wine a lot, so.
Oh man, that's actually part of what's leading me up to New Year. I think this year I might actually go back into Total Wine. I'm not sure. I can't really.
Let me tell you something
sure.
we had in our show recently that you would not. It sounds awful.
Okay.
But if you like eggnog, I would recommend this.
I think
it is the Fireball eggnog.
Yes.
It's called Yule Nog.
Yep.
I know it sounds awful. I promise it is not.
It's not.
It is cinnamon, a good cinnamon eggnog.
Right.
Like it is. I would recommend it.
So I mentioned to you that I was catching up on your episodes. Mm-hmm. And one of the great things is I actually listened to that episode. So you guys didn't just do the Yule Nog. The thing I liked the best about that was y'all were talking about the calorie count for between beer and the eggnog. And then you're like talking about grenadine and other things. And I was just thinking about, because I just had a lot of sugary drinks over the holidays. And I was like, dang, you know what? That does catch up with you.
Well,
like
grenadine, you pour that in something like in a mixed drink and you're not even thinking about the calorie intake of that, but it's the calorie content of that, but it's a lot.
It's 70, you said like 75 an ounce.
Yeah.
And then an eggnog was, and then
200.
The topper was the bourbon cream, though.
Yeah.
You guys were saying the bourbon cream is like ridiculous.
Crazy.
Yeah. The thing I was most interested, though, to tell you the truth, and as we're nosing this, and Kenny has disappeared, ladies and gentlemen. He's gone. We're hoping he'll return, but when he returns,
ascot got him.
Yeah, the ascot got him. I think he got choked by it.
He won. He's back. He fought it off.
There you go. I was really interested in learning about that Fireball Barrel Reserve
the special
like
reserve. So really,
$25 bottle,
but
maybe?
I think it's $6 or $9 more than regular Fireball. Not that I'm buying a lot of Fireball,
Right.
but the only difference was it was aged in a barrel for 4 months.
Right.
I mean, for us bourbon guys, like that's nothing. But for Fireball, it actually made it better. I mean, you couldn't make it worse. So
Well, I know that that's more abundant than when it was first released in, I think, 2023. So I was thinking about picking up a bottle of it just to try it. Maybe we'll do a podcast on it in the future.
If people like Fireball, I'd recommend it. $6 more, it's worth it.
There you go.
A few weeks ago, you did make a purchase from Total Wine.
You and Steven now. Steven's doing the same thing. These guys.
We purchased the 1910 a couple weeks ago.
You're going to be Grand Reserve pretty soon.
I bought a 1910 a couple weeks ago. Okay.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, no wonder.
If you play your cards right, you'll get a bottle of Blanton's at the end of the year.
There you go. Maybe I'll get a 1792 small batch. Go in, sir, what's your best? They don't even want to recommend it. They're like, here's the Walcott.
This Walcott's the best.
That Walcott is the best stuff we've ever had in the store.
Anyway. Speaking of that, man, I don't mean to sidetrack.
Okay, yeah, please go ahead. This is a whole episode of
sidetracks.
sidebars. Yeah.
Well, we talked earlier. I told Anthony before we started recording. I saw on there it was the New York whiskey and wines competition or something.
Okay, it already turns me off just hearing that.
I know. And then they had 1792 bottled and bond, 1792 full proof, and George C. Stack.
That was what?
That was the top three.
1, 2, 3.
Like.
Oh, that was the only ones that were out there in the competition?
That's who paid them.
And then
I doubt they were sponsored by Sazerac.
I saw, and honestly, in this one, some people do lean on this company a little more, but Up Rocks, and to me, that was also not. It's just not.
What was their whiskey of the year?
Pot still.
We're not going to talk a lot about that, but it also just there's so much stuff, man, that like I couldn't imagine being a novice and either walking into Total. Well, hang on, a couple years ago I was a novice. Walking into Total Wine and it's like the guys, oh yeah, I recommend this and I recommend that, and this is so and so's favorite pick. They have little pictures by their bottles, and I wasted so much money on that stuff.
Right.
And then also just with a lot of the quote unquote influencers, a lot of the websites, and a lot of the websites that look like they try to not really be influencers. They are so paid, or at least have a hidden agenda. You can tell it's skewed. Now that I've gotten more into it, I can see
if you see the list now, like you can tell about like, hey, were they sponsored by these guys or like something. The stars align somehow. Was it by coincidence or by money?
Right.
One way or another.
And I just could not imagine trying to navigate the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of whiskeys that you walk into a store and see and trying to look online for a recommendation. Yeah. It's crazy, man.
The worst thing that Total Wine ever did to me in the history of their store was when I was first shopping there. I just said I was looking for a mixer. So it's not like they recommended this as a top shelf bourbon, but they brought the Lone Hand over. You ever seen Lone Hand?
I have not. I've seen Lone.
You know what Lone Hand is? It's a Jack Daniels knockoff.
It's Jack. Okay, Jack.
Yeah.
Jack knockoff.
So it was like mellowed puke. It was disgusting. I think I gave it to my neighbor. There was a lot of time there where my neighbor, he would just drink any kind of whiskey. So I'd be like, oh, here you go. Have this puke bottle I got from Total Wine. He'd be like, oh, thanks, man. And like, yeah, sure, here you go. Anyway, should we get to nosing this thing in?
Sure.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh, gosh. Oh, but I was going to say, though.
Nope, we're nosing.
No, you can go ahead and nose. I was just going to finish up on the whole thing. I couldn't imagine being a novice or being newer and just rely on what you read online or whatever.
Right.
So that's why we just got off of our best of blinds.
Yeah.
And that's why we do our best of blinds. There's going to be more like a big in-depth episode we'll do shortly on that, and a lot goes into it, but just a brief thing on that is our list does not necessarily mean it's going to be your list. There's a lot of things that we did not include just because we either felt we had something that was similar or a little bit better for the same money or things like that. But also, we talk about this, find someone whose palate that you do line up with.
For sure.
And that's who you kind of listen to.
Yep.
Whether it is us, whether it's Bourbon Junkies, whether it's whoever, find someone whose palate you line up with, and that's where you can kind of get a better idea of what you actually like and don't like. Because there's definitely, my palate lines up different than other people's and vice versa. And so if you know that I like something, that means you might be the opposite. Be like, oh, Kenny likes it, that means I probably won't. And then vice versa. So just, I'm not saying we're right or wrong. Just find someone that you do line up with, and that'll help you determine what you should really be spending your money on. Because bottle prices keep going up. and income is not seen to be going up as quick as bottle prices. So.
There's got to be a limit on that bottle price going up though. Like it's got to hit a ceiling pretty soon.
Yeah, because at a certain point in time, these stuff's just going to be sitting.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to lie, I was lucky to obtain this bottle for under what the MSRP was. Mm-hmm. It's because a friend that has an establishment, we'll just leave it at that, to be as broad as possible, had gotten, I think, 2 of these in and wanted to sell one. And they had put it out there already at a good price. I think put it out there at $4.50. And I said, hey, I don't want to be a jerk here. I really just want to buy that to drink it. Would you take this much? And I think he came back and said, I'll take what my cost was, which was like $3 something. And so that's where I got it. That's where I got this bottle we're drinking tonight. But still, even then, I was going, dang, I'm still paying high $3.80, $3.75 for this bottle. Even though I got less than what I get it for at a store, it's still, that's expensive.
I feel like at the high end of Willett stuff, though, they were going for $100 a year. So if you're 11 years old, it's $1,100 for secondary. Looking at it now, though, I mean,
it's melted off.
Yeah, I mean, when I go into a store, though, when I'm looking at like year to like cost ratio, it's probably $10 to $15 in my mind.
Right.
So if I see a 10-year bottle that's $100 or less, that intrigues me. You know what I mean? Like, hey, it could be a value. And Buffalo Trace, I mean, honestly, Eagle Rare, it's 90 proof. What's 10 years old? And it's what, $55?
Right.
40 to 55, I don't know.
Right.
That's a good deal. I mean, if that's what you like. You know, if you like the 90 proof, like you're not going to find that anywhere else, really.
Right.
So, well, yeah, I was talking.
I agree.
Talked to several people that have been in bourbon for a long time. But one of my more recent conversations about Willett specifically, I was talking to Justin, who is the liquor manager for OBC and BHG and all that.
Yeah.
And he used to tell me about at Willett, it was actually $10 a year back in the day before the big bourbon boom and before the big bourbon stuff. You can go buy these 19-year, 20-year, 25-year for $10 a year. And some of those now are the ones that sell for $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 a bottle.
Right. They had them in the end caps at Liquor Bar when I first started going there at Hamburg.
Yeah.
They had them on the end caps and then sometimes in the glass case. Nobody would buy them. They had dust on them at that point because back then, I mean, you can get a single barrel strength Four Roses for like $60. They had every recipe on the shelf. Like, this was not that long ago.
Oh, yeah.
And those were fantastic. You can get single barrel Taylor. Like, you can get all that stuff on the shelf. Right. And people just weren't used to Willett. Like, it was sourced.
That was the premium Willett stuff that was sourced that was even better than their own stuff.
Correct. But even back then, like, sourced was like a bad thing. Right? Like, you just didn't know. So.
Right. And they put a lot of other products out there too, like Noah's Mill and Black Maple. Was it Black Maple Hill?
Black Maple Hill, yeah.
And all kinds of stuff that had premium older blend in it, and that's all changed too. But back to what you were saying about the $10 a year, $100 a year, I feel like all that once it started becoming their own stuff and their own distillate, that still held for a little while because the picks were
6 months.
Were still exclusive, and people still couldn't get them. But then as soon as the picks became more abundant and more of them are out there, like it crashed hard. Like I don't even think there's a secondary on this. Like if I wanted to take this bottle, it's probably available in some stores still in Kentucky for $500.
I know one's available at.
Yeah. And if you go under that, like if I had it and I bought it from that buddy and I didn't want it, I decided I want it, I'd probably still have a hard time getting my money back out of it.
Right.
So yeah. But that's we're talking about nose. Nobody's saying anything about nose. To me, this is like a citrus, caramelized sugar, and then the rye spice, of course, is very prominent on the nose. I mean, it's kind of where I'm at with it.
I get rye spice, and I could see a little bit of like citrus. Like if you hadn't have said that, I don't know if I picked it out, but it's very light on the nose to me.
Right. What
you
else?
get a hint, like a light hint of orange, not much of an like not when you're peeling the orange and the pores.
Zest, like a little,
that's like really potent. It's not that. I get a very mild orange.
Right, and then citrus notes to me are the back end of this. It's got a lot of sweetness. It's got like a.
Are you tasting now or just
no? Just nosing. It's the nose has like a palpable like almost like a caramel. Like some people always say I hate rye. Well, you don't like rye. If rye gets to a certain age, it starts to turn a corner and has more of a butterscotchy caramel like nose to it at least, and sometimes in the flavor in the palate. That's kind of what I'm picking up on this. So it's showing its age, I think.
Personally, I don't love mint in a rye. Like if it's a predominant note,
right.
And a lot of Willett's to me, like younger ones, have that.
Oh, I'm expecting to get mint on the palate
in a bad way. It's almost like it almost goes dill, like a dill pickle mint. It's the younger ones. Now I've not tried this one yet, so I'm going to try it now.
Yeah, I think we should just go in there. Did you taste it?
Steven just texted me and said, let's go in for a taste. So we're good.
All right. Okay. Sweeter than I expected. Definitely baker spice.
I bet this is their low rye recipe.
It's I would think so too.
I think it's their low
It's closer to bourbon than rye.
There you go.
I get like the candied orange on the back.
But they don't say. They don't say.
Right.
But also, Andrew just messaged me back and said that if he were to guess, he would say probably low rye.
Okay.
That makes sense. It's more bourbon adjacent than rye to me right now.
Yeah, and I did guess wrong then. There you go.
Well, I mean, hell, you didn't know.
Yeah. Man, that is... Yeah, it's sweet. Like you said, what'd you say? Who said candied orange?
Me.
That was you. That was a nice call.
If it's right. If it was wrong, it was
no.
somebody.
I think it's right. And then the baker spice is correct, and I think that it still does carry a little bit of that. I'd almost call it like a piney.
Yeah,
it's a little bit piney
I can see that.
in the back. Not really minty, but like that's a.
It's not mint.
Yeah, it's not mint.
It's actually. I'm a finish guy. Yeah. I heard you all talking like in your last episodes, but for me, finish is probably my number one.
Right.
This is still going. Like I'm still getting some finish on it. Is it my favorite finish? Maybe not, but the candied orange, the baker spice, a little bit of other citrus cutting through, like it's there. It's a good long finish for me.
Nice. It is holding, yeah.
What's the proof on this one?
120.8.
Okay.
Well, it's showing its proof, but it's got a nice flavor to it. Yeah, I'm not a.
They didn't drink it all above 120.
It's not hot. I mean, it's not a.
Didn't drink above 120.
It's not a bit over 120.6. No way.
Kenny, what do you got over there, sir?
Got the 8-year Kiamachi Willett Rye.
I mean, yeah, this is better than I expected. I didn't have much high hopes. Willett Rye, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. This is their own distillate at this point, right?
That's their own distillate. Okay. The oldest I think that they have out is 11-year rye. Okay. So,
I'm gonna check that out with you.
Yeah, if you want to pass that one around, I'd like to try it too.
I've seen this one, but never had it.
I think that the Willett, the hate that some of their newer distillate gets, especially the rye. I remember when we opened this bottle, and I haven't had a lot of it since we opened it, but we got a broken cork.
Dang, dog.
I just twisted.
Jason's he's got really strong hands. There's plenty of.
No, Jason does not.
There he goes. I got something there.
I need something to get this not thing special. Out with.
Uh-oh.
Did you give that bottle to Lone Hand over here? He'll get that cork out.
I got you. It's coming.
Do you want me to? Well, that's my new nickname now, Lone Hand.
Okay, go ahead, Lone Hand.
Come on, Lone Hand.
I got a lot of practice with this kind of stuff.
I'm going to hand you this one too there.
Uh-oh. Wait a minute.
Yeah, so the top, when I was trying to open this one, the top actually broke off of the cork. So it happens. There's light glue in that top part, and sometimes it just gets a little loose.
It's coming out. It's just taking a second. You got to kind of, there we go. Yeah.
We'll find a cork in there that'll fit.
Yeah.
Thanks, Anthony. Sorry, Kenny.
You're very welcome. But what I was in the middle of saying about this rye is when we opened this, I remember Kenny. I came over here. There were some guests here. I think I can't remember exactly who they were. Secret. But I brought this over and we opened it. And on Fresh Crack, there was I think 4 or 5 people here, and everybody I remember enjoyed it. And everybody said the same thing you just said, which was. This surprised me, like in many ways, because people are used to like I don't know, tasting that minty, florally, weird sort of thing that's going on.
If you look online, like social media, so on Instagram, you had the Willett WFE fan club. So Emerson, I think it's Emerson Shotwell. I think around that one.
Okay,
he actually changed the name, but I was actually messaging him about another Willett bottle the other night, but. A lot of the Willett guys that loved Willett and kind of hyped it up, not including him, but they kind of shifted about 2 years ago. They went hardcore into rare character. Like they kind of shifted from Willett altogether.
Oh, that's true.
And it used to be like it was the thing, right? When you had a Willett that was 10 years or older before it was their own distillate, you had a hot bottle. Like it was desirable.
Yeah.
But that changed.
That's interesting, and maybe the variation is just also the fact that a lot of times when we're tasting these Willett Rye single barrels, they could be high rye, they could be low rye. We don't know which recipe they are, and if this is indeed the lower rye recipe, that might have a lot to do with it too. You know,
after tasting this Kiamachi, I bet the launch here might be high rye, and this Kiamachi low rye. There's a very big difference in those.
Oh wow, you're right. Well, geez, if it is the high rye, like I think.
Well, then again, they're all single barrels, so who knows? It just could be what it is. You know, they could both be 51s or both 74s.
Pardon my ignorance, but what is this one? Do you know?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
So these
I'm just saying, after tasting this, I would think.
No, I mean, like what's Kiamachi? Like what is that?
That was which band was that? It's a band.
Yeah, it's the band, dude.
Which band was it?
Hang on, Linkin Park.
No.
Wasn't it Lincoln Park?
No, it wasn't Lincoln Park.
No.
Hang on, then. I thought it was Lincoln Park.
Sorry.
It was Yoshimi versus the Peak Robots. No. Let me see that real quick. Oh, Kenny, I can actually read. Followill family. So what is that?
Oh, that's Kings of Leon.
Kings of Leon?
Kings of Leon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Music trivia.
That's close to Lincoln Park.
Same thing.
Yeah, like literally the same thing, Anthony.
Well, there you go.
What's your problem?
They went crazy. I've seen him in concert like 3 times.
Yeah, so they had a 19-year. They had a 10, 12-year or something. Then they had this 8-year.
I've definitely seen that bottle many times. I had no idea who that's behind it though, or the collab was with.
Yep, Kings of Leon. That's what it was.
Well, you might be right, but I mean, have you tasted this yet?
I have.
Oh, no, never mind. 8-year rye, 5-year rye, then that 19 bourbon.
Okay.
The 19 bourbon is the one Alves put into our blinds that year.
And it didn't do well, did it?
It scored well for me, man.
It
That's pretty
score well?
good,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I couldn't remember if it did or not.
Yeah.
That had to be sourced then, because it Willett doesn't
Oh, it
have-
was. It was sourced.
Yeah, it doesn't have
Oh, it was
19-year-old.
sourced.
So this one is a rye too, though, right?
This
Yes.
is a rye, and it's distilled,
8-year
aged, and
rye.
bottled by them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got 8 versus 11, and I mean, without even hearing you guys all have your own opinions, and I trust them. I like the 11-year way better. But
The 11 years
100%.
got way more flavor than this
Not
8-year.
even- not even
not
close.
even.
Yeah.
Like it's
No.
not even remotely close.
I wouldn't even think it's the same distillate. I mean, again, it could
It
be
is that different.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
No, I agree.
totally different.
right, and it's 110, so it's 10 proof points
And
lower.
it drinks as hot or hotter than the other one, I think.
I agree.
Just the flavor profile is a night and day in these two.
100%.
Right. Well, that's
Cool
I think it's
label,
actually-
though. Cool label.
Cool
Thanks for
label,
sharing.
and good for the podcast too, right? Because sometimes we do blinds, and sometimes we're just tasting things we know what they are. And in this case, I like this.
Well, we still got a blind coming up, but
Really,
yes.
Kenny, this episode has to come out tomorrow.
Well, the last time I was here, I think we had
The
19
episode will come
blinds.
out tomorrow.
15. Blind just for the 11-year though, right? I'm not going to drink any more Kiamachi.
Oh, that's the only Kiamachi I got.
I mean, I don't think the Kiamachi's like horrible,
It's
but
not bad.
compared to the 11, it's not even. Yeah.
I think I have a bottle.
What
of
was
this.
the price on that? Do anybody remember?
I think it was 150, 60.
Okay, so roughly.
Oh, it's still 350. Never mind.
So yeah, I mean 2/3 of the price of the 11-year-old.
yeah,
I'm glad to try it because I've never had it before. So
Yeah, I might have this somewhere. So if you know anybody looking for a bottle, I will.
that's what
I
I
will
would say. Move it, move it.
I will sell it because I am poor. My wife gets mad at me when I go around the house saying that, but it's always coinciding with bourbon season. Where I'm like, been this, been that.
Every year it's like September rolls around and it's bourbon season. I'm like, I got nothing.
Yeah.
October, I'm like, I still got nothing.
Right.
I'm like, well, it's going to be a dry season. Next thing you know, November, December, I'm like, holy shit, I bought too much bourbon.
Yeah. No, I'm always doing the same thing, and it very much was indicative of the way this year went.
You just run into it, man. When you run it, it's one of those things too. Like I always tell myself, don't pass it up because you won't get the chance again.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Glass.
thank you, sir. So I always buy when I can, even if I don't want it. If it's something I think is desirable, I'll just offer it to
Do you need more
friends.
of this?
No,
You
I'm
good?
good with that
Okay.
one. Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you.
Glass, Anthony.
Glass. I agree, man. I randomly somehow I think I might end up with 3 bottles of the Four Roses,
Very
which I know I
nice.
offered one to you.
I'll take that.
I might end up with 3 of those bottles this year. So
One more thing I want to bring up on the Willett. So line share, that's a pick. Do you know what that is?
you know what? Online, a lot of people say different things about line share, but I always assumed that this is just a host, not just this one. Because
I was
this
told
is
it's a distributor.
I know what
Distributor.
it is. That's correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
I wasn't trying to trick you, but yes, that's what it is.
distributor pick.
Distributor
But I don't think this is the only one.
No, they
for
do
all
like
of
it's
Kentucky.
almost
gotta
like
be
a
multiple barrels.
It's honestly what I understood was if they had barrels that weren't fully claimed, like if maybe they didn't have sell them all,
Right.
They would let it be a line share pick. When I first saw this, I'm like, damn, it sounds great, you know?
Right.
But the more I read about it, I think it's just totally a distributor pick, and they actually don't even sell it in full cases to like smaller stores.
Okay.
So you might see like 3 bottles here, 2 bottles there, you know, whatever.
Well, the cool thing about this bottle is, I didn't even mention this, it's bottle number 20 of 139 of the Willett 11-year. So only 139 bottles out of this barrel, again, at cast strength at 11 years old. That's pretty cool.
Very cool.
Very limited.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they picked, I don't know how many, I'm sure there's probably 4 lion share out there, maybe more.
So we're blind to me, definitely a different nose.
I just drank the Kiamachi again. Back to that 11-year Willett. They're like way different.
Oh, it's not even the same
if
at
the
all.
price is within, the price. I got my spreadsheet. I need to look and see what I paid for that Kiamachi. Maybe it was $250. Maybe I was thinking it was something more. Maybe it was $250, but it's a huge difference in those two.
The other thing with the Kiamachi, and we just want to mention this real quick, is because this is an 8-year, it could be a blend. It's almost certainly going to be a blend of multiple barrels. It was not a single barrel. It doesn't say single barrel on it.
Good
So
point.
it could be a blend of high and low rye mash bill.
Oh, you
they
know
do
what?
that with their 4-year
And
rye.
since it was their quote unquote Kiamachi that was their collaboration,
Right.
There's probably a big batch of a bunch of barrels blended together to for the whole U.S. market.
But still, it's Willett rye.
That's true, though.
Distilled, aged, and bottled by Willett.
Yeah, it's true. I bet it was
difference,
I bet it actually was a huge blend. I bet it was.
Gosh, the nose on this has way more candied, on the blind, has way more candied notes that are a lot of candied sweetness, more so on the nose than the Willett.
I get a little more like breadiness. I don't know how else to, not bread. It's like bread. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's good. I mean, the nose, I've not tried it yet, but
There's an oak quality on the blind that is more pungent and more on the finish, a little more drying oak on the blind.
I get a little cherry on that first sip there too. Good finish. A little tannic on the end, not off-putting, but you get a lot of oak on that last, like
That blind.
almost the blind, almost the end of the palate, like close.
Yep.
It's tasty. It's a rye too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I went back to the Willett just now. Willett's more of that spicy
Yeah.
rye. The blind's more of a sweet rye.
Right.
I could see that.
I agree with that.
I definitely like Luxardo cherries kind of in that blind. Like it's some cherry for me.
Right. No,
It's a flavor that's hard for me to find, but once I find it, that's all I taste. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm with you on that 100%. And it's funny, when you do blinds, y'all know as well as I do, like it's sometimes you're on and you're just recalling everything, and other times you're just like haphazard, right?
Are you trying to say I'm haphazard?
No, I'm saying
that's what you're
I'm
trying
trying to
to
say
say.
I'm haphazard. Oh, man. Well,
I think it made me appreciate the 11-year Willett more having this blind.
okay.
I don't know that I like it better than the blind, but it made me like it more.
Okay. I think that's a fair assessment, and I'm going to say that I think I like both the blind and the Willett for different reasons. And I don't often do this, but a lot of times when I drink, I'm like, yeah, I like that better. I like this word. I'm like kind of like in a dead heat on these two. I hate to say there's a tie, but I think there's a tie. Can there be a tie, Kenny?
No
Yeah,
ties.
that's fine.
No ties.
Jason says no ties.
Well,
Ascots
hang on.
only. Ascots only.
So the blind I poured is not the one I wanted to pour.
Oh, okay.
I went to grab the one I wanted, and I don't have any open right now.
Ooh.
So I grabbed something from the same family, and it is not as good as the one I wanted to grab.
Oh.
But it's interesting that because to me, they're close, just different. Let me get one more sip on the Willett.
I'm horrible at blinds, like picking them out, but I want to give it a stab, and I'm sure I'll be horrible on this.
No, you got to put yourself out there.
Oh, I do all the time.
That's what we do on the
is
mashup.
Is this a Nashville Barrel Company, Rob?
It is not.
Okay.
Okay.
That was my first guess because honestly, I can't tell what the distillate is for. Like I don't know.
But inherent in that, I got really stumped on a blind recently. I thought it was corn sweetness. Then I was like, it finishes like a rye. Then it's this and it's that. It turns out it was an old Carter.
Okay.
American whiskey, like batch 12 or 13. And I had no idea because it was like hitting all over the place. But MGP distillate. So maybe what we just tasted was MGP?
Yeah,
Was it MGP?
that's
Kenny?
what I was thinking. But I
That's
mean,
what it's a
Nashville Barrel
Barrel.
Company gets a little sideways sometimes. I mean, in the good way. Like
Yeah.
it's off profile for some of those, MGP
Right.
95.5s or whatever.
Right. No, I love a lot of their, especially the early
100%.
picks. The early
Yeah.
picks are.
All right, so the blind is it is Kentucky Owl Rye Batch 3.
Wow. So that probably is going to be some Kentucky and Indiana distillate or not?
Supposedly Batch 3 is still the same set of barrels as Batch 1 and 2, which is supposedly all Kentucky. Supposedly Booker's rye type type barrels.
Okay.
But some have also said Barton. There's been speculations.
I can see Barton. 'cause
You know,
I've got that
Dixon
cherry
is
note
not.
from Barton.
Dixon's said different things to different people supposedly. But the reason I pulled this out, I wanted to pull Batch 1 out because Batch 1 is absolutely probably one of my very favorite ryes next to Booker's rye.
Yep, that's
and
fair.
Batch 1 secondary, you can still grab for $300, $325.
Okay.
Probably less now that they're going that the brand
then what's
Al's folding, right?
And
what's the Booker's Rye going for now?
They're dropped, but they're still hanging up. They're still $1,900, $2,000.
Yeah. So
They were to 23 to 25. Now they're
a
19
lot
to 2.
less. You can get this one. Maybe it's the same.
But so this Willett's $500.
Yeah.
And a Batch 1 Kentucky Owl Rye is even better than this Batch 3, and it's only $300. This Batch 3 rye you can usually grab around $250.
I'll be honest. I like this Batch 3. I mean, it's
Actually,
good.
dude, there's a couple.
It's very good.
There's a couple online retailers that say they have this Batch 3 for $179. That's like way less than retail.
That's a steal.
That's way less than retail. I'm looking it up right now.
I take it.
But it is.
Someone emailed me about my uncle in
It is 10 years
Cairo that
Yeah. Oh yeah.
passed away and had me inheritance.
Well, this looks like. It looks,
Nice. Very
it
good.
looks like a real store.
How much you getting? A couple grand.
I'm getting a bottle of Booker's Rye for
there you go.
$500.
There you go. Perfect.
But this Kentucky Owl is 10 years old, 114 proof.
Okay.
So 10-year, 114 proof.
So right on, honestly.
And
Yeah.
Fruit Bat's 219. So they're like a legitimate website. W&J Wines 249. So
Fruit bat.
219 to 249. So, and then like I said, Batch 1 through our legal that don't exist Facebook groups
Never heard
is
of
around 300. So I just want to throw that into perspective.
Well, I heard you could get batch 1 from Reserve Bar, but it'll ship in 3.5 years.
That is a very true statement.
So if you're 18 now, you can get it. You're good.
Oh, Reserve Bar.
Dude, I had bought bottles and I forgot I even bought them.
Yep.
I love Until they get better, I'm going to
And I
continue
get
to
an
rip them out.
email from them like 4 months later. I'm like,
Canceled or something or
what?
coming?
No, it was coming. I'm like, hang on, I don't want this anymore.
Like,
now.
no, I don't
It's
want
4
this.
months later, I've already got the bottles I need.
Return to sender right out of the
Yeah.
package. Yeah. Well, gents, are we ready? Have we arrived at the point where we could do our pass, try, or buy?
I believe so.
All right. So, gentlemen, would you pass, try, or buy on this Willett Family Estate single barrel lion's share 11-year-old rye?
I'll go first.
All right. Guest of honor.
So I am a try, and the reason I'm a try is I actually enjoy it, but for the price tag, I'm not going to buy this.
Right.
But if I was at a bar and you gave me this for $40 a pour, $30 a pour, I've never had it. I mean, it's worth that to me. It's worth that one time.
Right. No, I agree with you. I'm going to jump right in here because I don't have any respect or care for what
Now,
Kenny has to say.
But the way bars
You
typically
stop
go,
it.
this would be about an $85 pour at a bar, Jason.
Then I'm out.
It's 80, because
I'm a pass.
I've heard you take the price of the bottle and you divide it by 6.
I thought
roughly.
you times it by 3, but maybe you're right.
So it's $500 bottle divided by 6 is $84.
Yeah, the out.
Okay.
I would be a pass at anything over $50 a pour.
Yeah.
And that'd be my limit.
Okay, gotcha.
I mean, again, this is good. Like I'm not hating on it, but for that price, and we just had the Kentucky Owl Batch 3 for what, $300 or less?
$300 max.
Damn, I mean that's
Max.
That's as good for the same money for me,
Right.
Or less money. Sorry.
And I'm hoping this will not be a trend for 2025 as we move toward a new year, but I'm going to follow it up by saying that I'm 100% with you, Jason. Like, I'm going to say try because it's great whiskey. The reaction everybody had when we opened this bottle, now revisiting it here for the podcast, I think it's great whiskey. I do not like the price. And again, I think Willett's between a rock and a hard place because their whole reputation is premium. It is expensive bottles.
Yep.
They command that dollar, but I think they're right. They're going to have to do something with it because even though I see the value at like what I paid for it, like at $375, maybe $350. When you get to $500, man, that's a lot. And even then, $375 is still a lot of money. So
You look at one that we had tonight on our
Try.
podcast.
Okay.
And, sorry, you said try.
yeah, try. Officially try.
So on our podcast tonight, we filmed earlier. We had the Raconteur Rye. Those are $130. I know it's
That's
Mizunara, and
delicious.
I know it's MGP.
Right.
They're fantastic.
Right.
So I mean, they don't even carry much of a secondary.
Right.
So let's say you can get it for $200. You could get 3 of those bottles for one of these.
Bro, that perspective is
That's
just
not even
right.
That's not even close, right? Like
Dang right.
And I'm not just saying it, but that's a great rye.
Speaking of that,
That was amazing.
FYI, Raconteur Rye Batch 3.
I'm excited.
Batch 3
Kentucky bourbon
is on its way.
Kentucky rye.
man.
And I have a bottle coming to me supposedly.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
like soon.
like on its way. It's supposed to be
You
shipping.
don't have to invite me back, but you have to.
I think yeah. I think we'll have you back.
I've got 1 and 2 right here.
Yeah,
Man, so yeah, I've still got about at least 6 or 8 of each 1 and 2 left.
Fantastic.
And I'm still a 1/2, man.
I was 1/2
I know a
tonight,
lot of
but
people
honestly,
are-
it's cutting hair.
I know a lot of
It is,
people like
it is.
2/1. I'm 1/2.
and
One
batch
was sweeter for me, and I love
batch
sweet.
2
Yeah.
did perform pretty well, right? Top 30.
Batch 2 is more bourbon-y, and I think that's why we chose to include that in the blinds this year.
Right, but that was top 30 in the blinds, right?
I think so. Yeah,
top 30.
maybe top 20-25, maybe.
It was right in there, top 25.
Sorry to get you off track
No.
with that, but I always have a reference point when I'm looking at value, and that's my reference point for this. Like a rye.
That has to be.
It's finished, but I mean, again, a third of the cost. Give me 3 of those over one of these.
Right, I'm fighting my own thing there.
Yeah.
Just that's why I had to be a try because of cost. But I do really like the whiskey. But Kenny, what do you think, sir?
Yeah, so I'm a pass on it
Ooh,
because number one, Old Carter Rye Batch 1, you can still grab for $3 to $3.25. This Batch 3, $250 to $300, and to me, it's Batch 1 is flat. Batch 1 is probably the best rye I've had other than Booker's Rye. And for the $300 versus this at $500, I got to be out. And then you throw in the other perspective of Rack and Tour at $129, $130, $135, $150. So it just doesn't cut it. And I believe that is going. So you've seen with MGP how much they have cut production.
Yep.
oh no,
They're getting
Barrel price is going down.
they're getting
Oh,
sued
no.
by a lot of people. They're getting sued for a lot of people by like misleading, like
I haven't seen that.
yeah, they're getting sued. I think to look see how many people are suing them, but a bunch of people are suing them for like misleading. It has to do with the stock and all that stuff where they misled about the oversaturation of the market and this and that. You've seen a couple of places recently file bankruptcy or are going out.
right?
And I'm with you on that, man. I don't know Drew at all. A lot of people that I'm friends with actually know Drew, but 2025 is going to be an interesting shakeup for Willett from everything I can see, because at these prices that they are wanting at retail, dude, it's just, it can't. No, not at all, man. I mean, I was even shocked about our haunted house last year doing as good as it did, because most of their own distillate to me is good, but not great at all. And it's maybe $200 bottle, whereas most of their distillate on their bourbons are $450, $550 retail.
Right.
Well, it makes me
It's
wonder.
gonna be an
like,
interesting year for them coming up in 2025, man.
totally agree with that. How much are they leveraged? Like, how much do they need to sell these for $500? Like, if they're in that predicament, they're in trouble.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
If they're in that predicament, they are in trouble.
Yeah.
I think they're just, or hopefully they're not in that predicament. Hopefully they're just
Agreed.
riding their own wave. And because hopefully they could literally do the Heaven Hill thing and sell this, not quite Heaven Hill thing, they're massive, but they could sell their own distillate for $150, $250 a bottle and still be good. So I'm hoping they're
Even
just riding their own
300 on
wave.
this. Like, I mean, if you look at that, okay. I mean, this is really good. Like, it's not bad. It's just that price difference, man. It's hard to get it.
Do you know what Willett's probably thinking though right now? They listen to this, they would say, "We'll just put this out in the gift shop for all the tourists
True.
that come by,
And people
Boom.
buy it.
everybody, and they'll
People buy it.
They'll
Yeah.
just buy it. They'll just house it." So I think for the critical consumer like we are, I think that's spot on analysis. And I honestly was thinking about changing myself to a pass here, but I really can't just because it's good whiskey. But the price is just really, really, really bothersome.
Before we go,
Yes,
anybody
sir.
have a glass clean?
Yep.
I have one.
All right.
Last before we go here. Before we go.
Is this a short or a long?
It's a long.
Oh, this is a Friday, so it's a long.
Dang,
I remember the short I was on in about 4 hours.
We
I think.
misled you, Jason. Sorry.
No, I don't care. That tastes old.
Tastes very old.
Yeah, that's good.
But
Is that a bourbon?
Tis a bourbon.
Yeah.
wow.
Tis a bourbon.
That's bourbon.
Bourbon.
I like that. It was tasty.
That's really good.
It was
What
enough.
what is that?
It was a little pour.
Just
Is that Willett?
We'll give it a whirl here. Give it a second. Give it a second.
Oh, one of those?
I just want you to
There's
taste
four,
and see what you think.
There's 4 bottles. No, I already tasted. I just
digging
shot it.
I'm
Where
digging
did
it.
you put
I'm
I just-
digging it the first sip. I'm not lush like Anthony. I've not been drinking all day.
Oh, I just
or
shot
maybe
it.
I have.
Yeah, there you go. I just shot it right down.
Do you have any left or no?
No,
You want one more sip?
I don't know. No, I'm good. Why? Why do you want me to
I
give
mean,
one?
age wise, so that rye was 11.
It's got a nice flavor.
We said it's bourbon. I would say this is
Thank you.
12 to 15. That's a damn good pour. Was it probably 110, 120 proof?
It's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
This is 122 proof.
Ooh.
Close-ish.
So you read the back, what it says, Hush Money.
Okay.
Willett, purple.
Local bourbon legend, JY, calls himself the JY. Talks in the third person. Love him to death. He's a funny dude.
I don't know if I ever heard about
him. Jason Young, man. He's like a bourbon OG.
I don't know him.
Yeah. He's going to be first name, I guess.
So we talk about honey barrels, right?
Yeah.
That's a honey barrel.
Look at the age on this.
5 years old.
That's 5 years?
5-year-old
What's the
Willett,
proof on that?
122. Drinks like a 12 to 15-year-old.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
grab them.
Yeah.
Find one of those honey barrels. So JY actually is friends with Drew, knows Drew. And so it's one of those things where this is one of those.
What happened to that bottle, Kenny?
Oh, yeah. I
I'm
think
telling
it's
you,
gone
man.
now. You know what it is?
So
that's exactly
really good.
okay.
That's really good.
And what you said, Kenny, I'm glad you brought that out. I think that leads to saying that Willett has mystique for a reason.
For sure.
Yeah.
They have barrels there.
But
when you have a 5-year that can taste like this, holy crap.
But how many people are going to have a chance to get that? Not many. It's got to be the one in a million. It's a needle in a haystack, right?
And that's the tough part about buying their Rise or their Purple Tops in the stores is what is it? Is it a $500 bottle that tastes like a $200 bottle? Or is it a $500 bottle that tastes like a $1,000 bottle? That's a tough part.
I mean,
is
that one of the best 5-year bottles?
That's got to be the
very,
very best 5-year I've had.
Right?
I can't think of anything else that's 5 years old and tastes like that.
There you go. Well, that's tasty.
I mean, wow. I mean, for 5 years old, that's
what's that go for?
I've never seen one.
Yeah,
I need to just.
Well, that's the thing with Willett too. So I actually had a bottle. A friend messaged me about like, hey, what's this worth? I messaged that Emerson guy who's like the source on Willett. Essentially, he'd never seen it before. And if you looked online, you know how they have all the different barrel numbers on it.
Right.
It's not listed. Yeah. And I'm like, what the hell is this?
That's the other thing. How do you get to know what you want?
Yeah. So when you've had those runs, when you see people on Willett fan clubs, whatever, when they say I want this number barrel, they're looking for that one. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
So
this is hush money. Look at the yield though, 187. I mean, it's a 5 year,
which is crazy.
But dude, that's why I wanted to blind you guys with that. It tastes nothing like a 5 year.
No.
Doesn't taste like an 8 year.
I think I said 12 to 15.
Doesn't taste like a 10 year.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like ultra aged, like
12 to 15 year premium friggin' dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
The proof I couldn't get. I mean, but still, it's fantastic.
That's why I stay away from Willett in general.
Same.
When people message me about Willett, I'm like, look, Willett can be, I've literally seen a 6-year Willett for $12,000 and I've seen a 19-year Willett for $1,000 and everywhere between. So I just don't even mess with Willett, man. In general, for that reason, I just don't know.
And with that,
boom.
And with that, thanks for listening to this episode. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY.
Don't forget to visit our partner, bourbonoutfitter.com. Enter code The Mashup for a special discount.
Also,
head on over to our partner, the Woodwork Collective, at woodworkcollective.shop. Enter code MASHUP for a 15% discount.
Also, let us know your thoughts on the bottom in the comment section. Until next time, keep it neat.